They're going to tell you we're going to pay you 16, 17 cents an hour. Yeah, you find out too late that there is somebody that can tell you something. But that the disconnect is when you're not being taught it as a child coming up, then you grow up with that thought process, that mentality, and then you just go out into the world and into society, and you just do whatever it is you think you should do. But I want to keep going back to the church. The church's role and responsibility in getting into our communities and making sure that there's some positive things are happening in our community in terms of reaching out to our community. Because I feel like this, Dr. Haynes, it serves no purpose for a church to be in a community and that community is not benefiting from the presence of that church in that community. In some kind of way, I mean, we got to reach out. Somebody, Dr. Haynes, somebody got to reach out to these youth and get it. You know, they got this recent bill that come up, man, about the welfare and the school.
I was thinking about that. You're going to speak to that.
I think it's foolishness. I mean, because for one, it targets a certain segment of the population. It targets people who are receiving benefits from the government, you know, in terms of welfare and stuff like that. And it's not going to, you know, to say, well, the parent, you know, you gotta make sure your child is performing good grade. Well, if you got a person that's not educated themselves, if you got a person that's not taught themselves, it's going to be very difficult for them to teach the child. You know, so, and then you got a child that's going to school, and then whatever the challenges they may be facing in their communities, they may be having to stay up late because gunfire done woke them up, and then they go to school, they ain't focused and stuff like that, so they're not learning, they're not getting the grades. I guess the point I'm making is it's an unfair thing to target people that are receiving public assistance as if, so for example, what about the person that's gainfully employed, that's working every day, that's got children, and they're not being targeted? You know, their children, what do you do to them? What do they lose if their children make a bad grade? You know, so
in other words, it seems to me to be just another way to try to reduce the role that the state is playing in a person's life by giving them money, et cetera, to keep that money from going to these individuals.
Well, it's the further disenfranchisement of a people that's already been disenfranchised. That's all it is, because to me the whole welfare system is a trap anyway, something designed to keep you impoverished. If I can give you just enough money, then I can give you just enough food stamps, I can give you a place to stay, you pay $45, $50 a month, but if you go out and you get a job, I start taking stuff away from you. If you go out and, you know,
there's a disincentive in a real sense to move beyond where you are. If the more you progress, the more people are going to take away from you.
Absolutely.
So it's easier to...
Yeah, the only way you get out the trap is you got to abandon everything and get out the trap, because when you try to progress your way out the trap, you go get a job, then they reduce your food stamps. Now you got to pay daycare. So in essence, you're working and you got less working than you would if you just stayed at home, and
that's what most people decide to do in a real sense. So we're going to have to end this second show, Reverend Walker, for the day. And I just want to thank you for bringing all of that information by to us this morning. And we know that the information that you're giving us is tried and true information, because we've dealt with it over the last 25 or 30 years, and you've been a great contributor to some of the things that we've done here, and we certainly want to recognize that. And that is one of the reasons that we felt that we could do a two shows with you, because the information that you're giving is such excellent information. And I just want to thank you for that, and I want our audience to know what you have done and the contribution that you're making to this show. And let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.